What's up, gamers? Today we have a very special episode of Late Night with Brian Wecht for you, in that it is 2 episodes, sort of, kind of. It's 2 mini-sodes from our Patreon, which can be found at patreon.com/late night, as you are so dutifully reminded every episode, usually by Brian, but this time it's me. And I will tell you in my own voice that we have lots of cool stuff on the Patreon. If you sign up from 2 to 3 tiers, you get access to all video episodes. You get access to our weekly minisodes and backlog of said minisodes, as well as crosswords, sketchbook, mechanical keyboards, and Discord. It's very fun. I would love to see you there. So if you like these, check that out. There's a lot of them. I hope you enjoy these specific 2 of them. God, I'm crushing it on these bumpers. All right, play the theme song or whatever.
And here we are.
Wow, a mini-sode.
Yeah.
Brian, how was Disney?
Oh, Disney was actually pretty fucking great.
Yeah?
Yeah, so we took Audrey on Wednesday. And last time we were there was early May, when it was like throttled capacity and masks everywhere, including outside, except in certain designated areas. And a bunch of stuff was closed. And this time, 6 months later, there were no masks required outside, and which I think is fine. Like, that seems to be scientifically based. You're fine if you're outside. Unless you're in like a huge crowd, which we generally were not. And more shit was open. And it was fucking great. We had a great time. Audrey went on at least two new rides. We decided to try the Matterhorn, which is most usually closed when we're there, but this time was open.
Wow.
And Space Mountain.
Space Mountain.
Yes.
Audrey went on it?
Yes, with Rachel.
Whoa.
I can't do roller coasters, as you know, but Rachel loves them. And so apparently they went on the Matterhorn, and they got in the car, and there was a woman sitting in the the whatever thing right in front of them. And the moment they started moving, she started going, ah, 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 while taking selfie mode on her phone. And Rachel, it freaked Audrey out. And apparently she did that for the entire ride, just to get that sweet content. Rachel got off the ride and first of all, Audrey was crying because it's pretty shaky, the ride, and it's very loud, and Audrey really doesn't like loud. And they got off the ride, and Rachel was like, that yeah. So I think Audrey probably wouldn't have liked it no matter what, but this very, very loud woman who was just doing it for the gram.
Oh my God. I feel like I've reached a level of just not giving a shit that words would be exchanged. Like, I'm losing my ability to keep my mouth shut, which is not necessarily a great thing.
Wait, as in you would say something to her?
Maybe. Well, it's easy for me to say that when I'm sitting inside of my home doing a podcast. It's another if I'm actually in the situation. But it was the same Not Scary Farm. The guy just lit up in the middle of line. Right. I was like this fucking close.
I generally do not say anything for many reasons. Number one is I don't think it's a successful strategy.
No, it doesn't work.
Number 2 is I'm a coward. But the ordering might actually be reversed there.
Yeah.
But also it's like, I don't want to, is this worth my time? Is that what am I going to say that's going to change this person's mind? And because of human nature, the moment you confront someone on anything, no matter how gently, the fuck you energy starts, and they're more likely to dig their heels in. So
yeah, I think, to be clear, I'm more in the zone where I will openly make a bad face at them, whereas in the past, due to people pleasing, I would simply act like I am completely fine with everything, and I'm going to give you a little fake smile. Like, no, you didn't earn it. It's not.
Yeah.
No.
Well, especially on something like Disney is such a weird place in so many ways. Rachel and I were talking about the people that go to Disney in their club gear.
Yeah,
And
the
it's
roving gangs of Disney.
yeah, well, like or like nightclub is really what I mean. Like people who are like they put on all their makeup and their like mesh shirts and like mini skirts and stuff. And I mean, wear what
Mhm.
you want. I don't fucking care. But it's just an odd choice. Like
Oh, Brian, are we doing some Disneyland slut shaming?
I guess we are. Um, no, like it's not just the women. It's people. Although I have to say, generally, when you see someone who is wearing very fancy clothes at Disneyland, it's usually not a dude. But okay, like there are some choices where I'm like, is this what? Why did you choose to wear that today? It
It's
is
the
just
heels for
baffling to
me.
me. Yeah,
It's
the heels are the craziest ones because it's like you're going to be on your feet for 8 hours today. How are you surviving?
I feel like those people know something we don't, Like they've unlocked something.
Yeah, totally. It's
Susie and
Disneyland.
I were like
Yeah.
standing around eating the quote unquote "I'm going to dill you" fried pickles from Not Scary Farm.
Is that really what they were called?
Yeah, it was. We like went on a quest to find all these specialty food items because only
Oh.
some of the stands had them.
You got to do that's mandatory. Anytime you go to a park, you got to do it.
Oh yeah. So I totally downloaded the app and like gave Aaron my phone, and we were like questing through the entire park to find these pickles, and they were worth it. Anyway, but that was when like we saw a bunch of women in high heels, and then also a person with an actual baby.
Yeah.
And this was at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's well, that is baffling to me. And again, I'm not even judging necessarily. Like, I don't know, maybe your baby fucking sleeps all day and wakes up all night. Who knows? But
You know what's going to solve that problem? Trauma.
Yeah. I mean, at Disney, you don't like, we're only there during the day and it closes pretty early. So like little kids abound, but
Mhm.
they're just people making all sorts of interesting choices.
Making strong creative decisions.
Yes. But we had a really, really great time. For me, Disney, here's the thing. I can't go on a lot of the rides for motion sickness reasons. So most of my Disney experience involves waiting for Rachel and Audrey to do stuff. And I took Audrey. What did I take Audrey on? I took her on Autopia. We all went in the Haunted Mansion, which was
Nice.
still in full Nightmare Before Christmas mode.
Oh, that's the best.
Oh, actually, the best this time was Tom Sawyer Island was open. And have you been on Tom Sawyer Island ever?
No, if you go there, do they trick you into painting the fences for them?
That's right.
That's immersive.
Yeah, it's immersive. It is work. And what it is so you take this little raft, which is closed. Honestly, it's been open like twice, 2 times we've ever been at Disney. Most of the time, it appears to be closed. And it's one of my favorite kind of ride at Disney, or ride, quote unquote ride, is the walk around and explore kind of thing. So you're not in a car, you're just kind of doing your own thing. And it's an island full of caves and shit. And they are the perfect size for a 7-year-old to explore. And so I just let her go. I was like, okay, go have fun. We walked around for a bit together. And then I said, here's the deal, honey. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you explore by yourself. If you get lost and need to find me, I will be outside. So come outside and just walk around the island. You'll find me. And she took off and had a great time, got a little scared, got a little lost, but she felt like a really, really big kid, because this is the first time really that I've ever just said, go for it, go have fun, I'll be here.
Wow.
Yep.
That's wonderful. I'm seeing as I Google this, there are signs where welcome is painted like welcome.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of cum.
Yikes.
Yeah. It was pretty great, honestly, because there were a lot of first of all, Audrey, when she sees a little kid, she wants to help the little kid. Audrey has extreme big sister energy, and
that's so sweet.
Really wants a sibling, which ain't happening. But anytime she sees a littler kid, she will kind of bend down and talk to them and ask if they need help and kind of escort them around. She's very good with littler kids. And so she did that a bunch. And then when she saw the big kid, she's like running around following them. It was she just had the greatest time. She came out of a cave and was like, covered in sweat and slightly upset, which is the best way to be at Disneyland.
I think the
And-
only way you can come out of a cave.
Yeah, it was so great. They had canoes, which I'd never seen open while we were there. It's like the Davy Crockett canoes, where you
Whoa.
literally paddle a canoe around that island.
Hold on. If I'm paying money to go to Disney, I'm not paying to paddle my own boat.
Well, it's funny you say that. I pointed those out to Audrey, and she went, "What? A ride that makes you work?"
She gets
And
it.
She gets it, and she wanted to do it, so she and I did it together, and she paddled and did a great job. I will say people are bad at. All right, so the way it works is everybody in the canoe, and there's I don't know, 10, 12 people plus the guide. So there's 6 oars on one side, 6 oars on the other. You would fucking think that people would try to paddle in a consistent and smooth way. And I was so mad at the dude in front of me because his rhythm was fucking terrible. This guy clearly had no sense of rhythm because his rowing was like row, 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 pause, row, 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 row. I was like, dude, and when the guy in front of you does something crazy, you have to do something crazy, which makes the person behind you do something just slow, consistent. That's why they have a coxswain in Crew, right? Stroke, stroke, stroke.
Wait, a what?
A
What was
coxswain?
that word?
Coxswain. The coxswain is the person who makes you stroke. You don't know about this?
No.
Look up coxswain.
Spell that word.
I believe it's COXSWAIN. Is that right?
Oh, I didn't realize that that's how you said that word.
Yes, it looks like coxswain,
Yeah.
but it's coxswain.
Coxswain. Are they just the one who's row?
Yep. They tell
Okay.
they keep everybody on pace.
Did they not have a Disney version of that?
Well, so they had the guy. It was very much like the Storybook Cruise, which I refused to go on because the last time I went on it, the out-of-date puns were delivered so unenthusiastically that it made me want to die. This tour guide, a couple times he was like, okay, we're going to do 3 big rows. 1, 2, 3. Even that people couldn't fucking get right. But
Oof.
yeah, it was pretty dire. And some people, of course, just refuse to paddle, which are, well, I don't want to make any assumptions about what side of the political spectrum they fall on. Let's just say that there are some people who are relying on everybody else to do the work for them.
Yeah. I guess I'm just thinking about a day in the life of that Disney cast member who is sort of like the proxy coxswain.
Coxswain.
Coxswain. The
Yep.
proxy coxswain.
The Cox Prox.
That guy, I feel like the first 2 hours of the day are maybe okay, cool, they're mostly doing it together, and then by noon they're just I don't know, fuck it, sink this thing, I don't care.
I legitimately wonder, so if that's your job, clearly you have a more or less set patter, I would imagine, that you have to say. Because we could hear them from the island while we were on the island, we heard a lot of that patter, and it definitely wasn't the same every time. It wasn't hyper scripted, but I mean, like any actor, after you've delivered the line a few times, it's really hard to make it believable. And it is I mean, they do not have an easy job, I'm sure. And is it fun? I don't know. You have to, any of those rides, like the Jungle Cruise, but oh my God, the fucking first of all, I haven't been on the Jungle Cruise in a few years. I went on it once and I was like, how is this still racist? It's and that was 3 or 4 years ago. And it was still pretty fucking racist.
Have they changed it?
They definitely have changed it, but it reads still very, now look, maybe they have changed it even more since the movie came out and everything. But when I went on it 3 or 4 years ago, I was like, this is still extremely problematic and does not feel fun and cool, but feels like a lawsuit.
I would ride the Disney lawsuit ride.
Oh yeah, I think that's called Disney in 1970.
Yeah, you go through like the discovery process of the ride. You get
Yeah.
subpoenaed. Honestly, I feel like a ride set up like a lawsuit would be pretty great.
That would be fun. I mean, that is kind of more. I feel like that is Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is like only a hair's breadth away from lawsuit the ride.
Yeah, that's more like morality play, the ride.
Yeah,
like, do you want to
100%.
die and go to hell for your sins, the ride?
Do you like those storybook, the Fantasyland rides, which are like the Snow White, the Mr. Toad, the Peter Pan? Are those, what's your opinion of those?
Not for me, but if I'm at a theme park and I'm sick of walking around, I will happily sit in a little air-conditioned thingy and ride around on the grossest water that you've ever seen, and that would immediately give you a brainworm if it got in any of your orifices.
Oh yeah. Are they not for you because they're literally the most boring things you could possibly imagine doing?
No, it's just like, I feel like, even as a kid, I didn't like them. I don't know. I always had a thing, and to this day I do, if there's any sort of those kinds of rides, like the dark ride version where it's like, it's that, but a little bit edgier.
Yeah.
And maybe you have like one little drop. Anytime there's one where they use pyrotechnics, I am in a rictus of terror the entire time, because I'm like, this ride's going to stop. I'm going to be harnessed in. I won't be able to get out, and this whole place is going up. And then someday some YouTuber is going to make like a top 10 craziest theme park accidents. And like, that's what my death by fire in, whatever, immortalized forever.
Yeah. Not a implausible idea. For me, a lot of those rides are, it's like, I feel like they're the kind of thing, it is a generic theme park ride. Okay. And especially the Fantasyland rides, generally from movies that came out 100 years ago or whatever. And I feel like they're the kind of things where certain people are like, okay, here's why this is great, which I'm all about. Here's why this is great. Like, okay, if you put it in context, here's why this is amazing. I feel like for a theme park ride, you shouldn't need that. It should just be fun or not fun.
It's called an amusement park.
Yeah.
I would like to be amused, please. I don't want to have to do a history lesson on why actually these janky ass animatronics are really cool, because I love this fucking cathedral to capitalism.
Yeah, totally. 100%. And look, I appreciate that there's probably some really cool shit from an engineering or animatronic or whatever, or ride design perspective going on. Feels to me a little bit like you shouldn't have to do that much work to appreciate it. And I go on them, and look, do I hate it? No, I don't hate it, but it is very boring. And
so you can't hang with a spinny or a droppy or any sort of high octane ride, but also the rides that you can go on are boring to you.
That's correct.
Good job having a child.
Yeah. Well, welcome to parenthood. What do I like at Disney? The Haunted Mansion is my perfect Disney ride, because it is, I mean, it's kind of the perfect ride, to be honest, because the design is great. It's like, it's long enough that you actually get to see things. I can understand why certain feats are impressive. The ballroom is cool. I think the Haunted Mansion is hands down my favorite ride at Disney, because it's just fun and it looks cool. The same cannot be said of, I'm going to pick a ride at random, Alice in Wonderland, where I'm like, all right, well, when I saw that movie when I was 8, I didn't like it. And now I hate being in it.
Yeah.
But at least the food is great.
Is it?
No. I will say it is getting better, I think, and finding certain specialty things. I actually ate a couple things where I was like, this is actually good.
And not just theme park good.
That's right. And not just theme park good. That's right. I had a shrimp po' boy for lunch, which I thought was pretty fucking solid.
That's a really bold choice.
I
when
know,
picking
but
something for a long day of theme parking.
hey, I decided to go for it, and I can't say I regretted it. I really liked it. And I had a lime chicken bao for dinner, which was also quite good.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm glad I did not eat at Pizza Planet because that did not
Oof.
look good. Yeah.
Yeah, when we went to Knott's Scary Farm, none of us had eaten dinner, and I guess nobody else did either. So I think we spent maybe the first hour and a half just like attempting to get the saddest possible
Ugh,
food.
it's so bad. It's theme
Yeah.
park food it's awful no matter where you are. I mean, it's not as bad as like carny food, which is the actual worst.
Well, okay, I think carny food, if you present the options to me, I will take carny food over theme park food.
You know what?
Because you're going to regret the
right.
carny food, but it is going to taste good going down.
I guess that is true for some of it.
It's cheaper. You will be
definitely
sick.
cheaper.
You will be sick. You will consume so much grease that your body will reach a saturation point, at which point it's going to start coming out of your pores like that one Junji Ito glycerin comic. That's carny food. But theme park food, it's like, do you want to pay $17 for 2 chicken tenders and they both suck?
Yeah.
Fetch.
And then you read these lists. Again, we look at the specialties and like the best food in Disneyland lists and stuff. And it's like you have to work to find the good stuff.
Yeah.
Which is silly. Star Wars Land, aka Galaxy's Edge, did feature something, and I took a picture of it. Did you say I posted this?
No.
I don't know. Here, I'm gonna text you a picture of something that you can get at.
What do they have?
Star
Like
Wars
blue
Land.
milk?
Which I drank and was not as terrible as I expected. Here, I'm texting you.
What kind of
picture?
milk? Like what is blue milk?
Just a moment, I'll tell you. Here, look at the orange thing I'm sending you and say the name.
All right. I'm waiting. I got nothing.
It should be there. I texted it.
You're drawing my attention to the orange one, but the red one is a little bit more interesting to me.
Say the name of the orange one first, and you really give it some space so we can get this clean.
All right. So 2 options for drinks at Galaxy's Edge. We have some moof juice and a lovely little red number called a Fatro with a PH.
Why? Yeah, PHATTRO.
What's moof juice?
I don't know. I'm assuming it's like iced tea ? Fatra, I don't know. So the blue milk is some kind of like rice milk coconut. It is not milk. It's like rice milk coconut sweet frozen thing. And not bad, actually. Not terrible. I thought it was literally like milk with blue food coloring. It is not that.
Yeah.
It's like a bad pina colada, basically.
I just see in the top like right corner across from moof juice, you see the phrase wilted kale, which is not something I want to see anywhere near Star Wars or Disney.
Oh my, yeah.
We got Kid Me Al's Avail, and then wilted kale.
Wilted kale. Maybe that's a Star Wars character.
We got some Kit Fisto and
he's
some
a farmer.
Wilted kale.
Yeah. George Lucas has hands down the worst character names in the fucking world. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I was also recently at Medieval Times.
Wow.
Yes. And have you ever been to one? Of course you have.
Oh, yeah. Repeatedly.
Yeah.
You doubted me about a camel sneezing in my face as a child at a Medieval Times.
Yeah, right.
And then did you go when like everybody from The Office went like 3 years ago?
I did not. I believe I wasn't invited to that.
Oops.
Yeah.
It was great. I mean, it was great because all my friends were there no, except for you. Yeah. And talk about literally paying $17 for a slushie.
Well, okay. This is what first of all, several things. I have some thoughts about Medieval Times. I have not been to one, had not been to one since I was 17. So it had been approximately 30 years in between Medieval Times visits. I went in with low expectations, which were not met. I was like, how is this fun? I mean, from a variety of perspectives. So perspective number one. Now, please disagree with me on all of this because I'm people love this place, right? People love it. So
you want me to steel man Medieval Times for you?
Oh, thank you. I do.
Me?
I want to know. First, what is your opinion on Medieval Times? On a like fun, not fun, sort of fun? What's your vibe?
If I was not going with a large gaggle of gamers and was not promised booze, you would not find me anywhere near the zip code of a Medieval Times.
Great. Okay. I think that's the correct attitude. But of course, like what you like. Number one thing, first you go into that big fucking hall, and I should have known there was a problem. I ordered a pina colada, yes, bad choice. I agree.
But you can't get through that shit unless you are either drunk or under the age of 8.
Well, I ordered the pina colada and they said, "Do you want alcohol in that?" And I should have run, but instead just said yes and proceeded to drink maybe an eighth of the most cloyingly gross thing I've had in years. I mean, just awful. But I was in a better position than some of the people I was with who ordered the drink in a fucking horn, which, like, the cone is not nature's most stable shape. And they also put it on a wire stand, which falls down if you look at it funny. So why? And so everyone I went with that ordered a beer in a fucking curved horn, right?
Yeah.
All those horns did was fall over and spill all the beer. Yet it still would have been a better choice than the pina colada.
Okay, do you think that is an intentional, malicious design choice on the side of Medieval Times of, oh, they're going to knock it over. That means they're going to order another one.
You know what? I don't, because that would involve more thought.
Which clearly there is not much happening over at the old MT.
Here's my big okay, two problems I have with Medieval Times. And part of it harkens back to.
Let me put the thing on maybe because she's. I was holding her for a good bit of this episode, and then I put her down, and now she's upset. Creature.
I'm just gonna wait here. I don't want to edit this part out later, so I'm just gonna talk. So I'm looking right now while Leighton is putting maybe in a thing. I'm looking at a scented candle, which is lemon and coriander scented. 100% soy wax from, let's see, where is this from? Rachel got it. Where is this from? I don't know.
I've returned.
Okay. All right. So here's what I was going to say. And this is reminiscent of the thing I was talking about with the Fantasyland rides. So one of the first things you see when the show comes is horses doing tricks, and they're like alternating which legs they pick up, and or they're like bending down. And I have absolutely no context for whether or not this is impressive or not. Like, should I be like, holy shit, that horse just knelt down? Or should I be like, oh, okay, that horse knelt. Yeah, fuck, easy. I don't know. I couldn't tell you if what I saw those horses do was like, it could be the most insanely difficult thing, like dressage level shit that I've ever seen, or it could be completely routine and it is not placed in context, and I have no idea how appreciative I'm supposed to be. It's probably not easy, but I don't know. I wish.
But you're not a horse.
But I'm not a horse, yeah. Like, I wish someone had just said, even if they were lying to me and they were like, what you're about to see is fucking impossible.
No horse has ever done this before. It's about the showmanship. Like, that's the whole bit of Medieval Times is the showmanship.
Yes.
You better tell me something about these horses. I don't care if it's true. I would like to be amused.
100%. And some art requires context. And even if the context is a lie, you have to put it there. And they did not put it there. So that was.
Are you directly contradicting yourself after we just talked about, this shit should be cool without context?
I guess I am, but that's fine.
Right.
But But that I do think it should. There's some things that are legitimately cool without context. Like if I'm going to see a guy, I don't know, like a fire eater or something, it's fucking cool. I don't care how hard it is. It's fucking cool.
I don't care how you're doing it, and it looks sick.
That's right. To watch a horse pick up one of his hooves, it's like, okay, if it's not cool, just innately cool, you better at least tell me the context of why it's cool. And so I'm not contradicting myself. Because the same thing is true about the Fantasyland rides, where it's like, all right, here's the thing. Okay, here's the consistent standpoint. If it doesn't just look cool, but actually is cool, you have to tell me why it's cool. That's the through line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that feels like, we've got Occam's razor and whatnot. That's got to be, if it's not immediately cool, you need to tell me why it's cool. And
Occam's razor.
I'll accept it.
Thank you. Okay. Thing number 2 about medieval times. Maybe the worst audio I've ever experienced in a professional setting. All of the dialogue, and there's like a fucking plot here. Like there is a capital P plot happening. And everything you hear is like, and that's Horace and the Green Knight, and in the favor of the Queen will say, then we'll all get a battle out of the sword. And it's like, what? Wait, what? There's something about the Queen in there, and I think she hates the Green Knight. And then a bunch of fighting happens where people, by the way, like there's a lot of this is where it got impressive. People leaping off horses and shit. Like there's sparks. I can appreciate that. This is probably not a job without danger and skill, at least what the knights are doing. But there's some kind of like political rivalry being presented here, which is impossible to follow without the audio. And the audio is so bad that you can't understand it. So,
yeah, because they really encourage you in your section to be really hyped up for your guy, but then a thing will happen and it's like, did we win?
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And then it's further complicated because they don't want you, like our guy got he was in the first round of jousting or whatever the fuck it was, and lost. But then he comes back for like a loser's battle or something, and it's like, okay, I wanted a diagram showing me the structure, the round structure of the tournament, because I could not understand who was what was going on. And again, I will say with something like this, where there are actual children there, it should not be this complicated. By the way, that was another thing that I thought was this actually I did think was great. They read off the birthdays and stuff, and there was an equal mix. It's like Lady Sophia is celebrating her 6th birthday. Lord William is celebrating his 11th birthday. Lord Kevin is celebrating his 47th birthday. And there were a lot of people. I'd say a third of the people were over 40 whose names were read out.
I do love that.
Is pretty dope, honestly. Yeah. I was like, more power to you. If you were the like, I'm 55 and fuck yes, I'm having my birthday at medieval times and I'm putting my name on that list. Get it.
Well, Brian, I feel like maybe you had a difficult time understanding what was happening in the general proceedings just because the food at medieval times is so delicious that it can be pretty distracting from the main event.
I was wowed by the tomato ? Soup. And
I feel like you could just call it tomato ? Like that's...
You know what? I will say, actually, that wasn't too bad. But the chicken, why would you serve something so hot and not provide utensils? It was like scaldingly hot when we first get it.
And folks at home, I can already hear you. Leighton, they don't have utensils because it's medieval times. They're not supposed to have them. Well, we should all be eating rotten meat because they thought you could just put salt on a meat and it's fine. So
yeah, their historical accuracy is debatable.
That argument does not stand. Oh, you can't have utensils. Fuck you. Yeah. You all should have no teeth.
We have talked about the scene from The Cable Guy, right?
Oh, which scene? Oh,
It's
yeah, of
the
course
one
we talked. Oh
with
my
Janine
God, yeah.
Garofalo as the waitress. There were no
Yes.
utensils in medieval times, so there are no utensils at medieval times. Would you like a refill on that Pepsi? It's great. So yeah, medieval times. And then I kept expecting it to get better. And look, I had a great time with the crowd I was with. Well, it was a good collection of people, but the show itself was, let's just say, not my thing. If I had to spend whatever it costs for a fucking ticket, I mean, it's not cheap. It's like $60-$70 or something. I can think of many better ways for me personally to spend that money.
You walk into a grocery store, you beeline straight for the little hot box. You grab yourself a $5 or whatever rotisserie chicken. You go out in the parking lot. That's good eats. Yeah, you can buy so many entire rotisserie chicken.
And you can easily start a fight with passerby if you need to watch that while you eat your chicken. Did you hear what he said about you? Easy. Then there's your own fucking... It's not medieval times. That's like Orange County times.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that was I'm sure people are listening to this that really love medieval times, and I
or who work at medieval times. Yeah. This is already my anxiety. I'm sorry, it's not for me, and we're being dicks for the sake of comedy. I'm sorry. I'm sure you have a lot of fun at your job, or maybe you hate it, and maybe this is vindicating. I don't know. Whatever you need it to be, that's what it is.
I will say that, look, obviously people can like what they like. Who cares? The fact that we don't like it doesn't really make a whit of difference to anyone else, and nor should it. But I will say the people there, the crowd, people were not monsters. Like, generally people were cool and respectful and not being dumb idiots, which was not what I expected. I was like, oh, here we go. Medieval times, people are going to be, awful. And they really were not. The crowd was generally pretty great. Probably has something to do with the fact that there are a lot of kids there, which is, maybe makes people chill out a little.
Well, it's one thing to shit on something because it's not what we want it to be. How do we workshop medieval times? How do we make this a better experience? I have a recommendation.
Yes.
At the beginning of the night, you get assigned to your zones or whatever the hell. You get your red zone, you get your green zone. But then I think there also needs to be a wild card where maybe they put like a star on your seat or something. And then at the end of the show, they're like, all right, everybody with the stars on your seats, statistically, you got the bubonic plague and you died. So you have to leave right now.
Right.
You all have to leave.
Yeah, they bring out the cart and you have to lay on the cart. Just a pile of people. No humping. There's a strict no humping policy. So you lay.
Well, I mean, if we're workshopping,
yeah,
I don't think it doesn't need that.
Okay, that's fair enough. But you lay on the corpse cart and they cart you out. I like it. That's right.
Yeah. And then it saves you really from having to experience the rest of the show. Like, you guys are lucky.
Yeah, and then they ask everybody. Oh, okay. Sorry. Here's another thing about medieval times. It takes place in Spain. You walk in and there's a big map of Spain, but everybody's speaking with an English accent. What? Maybe it's different in different locations. Why would you set it in Spain? Okay, sure, but why not set it in England? It's like they were doing English. Everybody was doing a fake English accent. Why would you not put the fucking thing in England? It's not like there aren't enough cities to pick from. It was the weirdest choice.
Yeah, that's the most like flabbergasted I think I've heard your voice go.
I was baffled because you walk in and you think, oh, it's going to be like a bunch of England, Scotland, that kind of stuff, whatever. But instead they're like from Castilla y León, and you're like, what? Why? Why would they put this in Spain? Just confusing. I mean, and it doesn't affect the story at all, as far as I can tell. Also, well, then it's like, okay, if we're in Spain in medieval times, it's like, great. Now everybody's thinking about the Inquisition. Cool. What a cool, fun time for kids.
Well, I think that's when they start their spin-off themed entertainment restaurant. That's
Inquisition.
The Inquisition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Good
God.
luck with that one.
Yeah. Because when we were talking about the reason I thought about that was my other punch up would be they ask someone, hey, everyone who's not a Christian, raise your hand. And then a guy dressed as a priest comes out and beats the crap out of you.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
No. Well, anyway, that was my take on medieval times. It had been a while since I've been there, but I had a good time despite all the bullshit.
I almost feel like you had a better time because you had so much fuel of things you could hate.
You know what? Yes, I certainly had a more memorable time. But it gets back to the thing that we have talked about before, and that there was a recent lovely late night animated about. I don't like fun. Things that people think are fun, I don't like it. And what can I say? I gotta be me.
Yeah, I think that's a fair summation. You hate having fun. I hate having fun.
Fun isn't fun.
And you folks at home, I hope that you didn't have any fun listening to this mini-sode.
If you start having fun, let us know and we'll kick you off the Patreon.
If you start having fun, stop.
Yeah, that's our entertainment philosophy.
Entertainment?
Intern, yeah. All right, bye, everybody.
See ya.
Boom.
Got him.
Yeah, we're here.
We're back once again. Totally, the week that you are currently listening to this is totally the week that we recorded it, and not right after we recorded the previous week's. Wink.
Fresh content. That's what you get here.
Topical. Timely. Sexy.
That's you know what? That's our cable news like slogan. Timely, sexy, topical, late at night.
That's us.
Down to the minute content. I'm going to tell you about the hot new book I just finished reading, Panine by Nabokov.
Which really?
Which one is published 60 years ago or whatever. This is it's a short book. It's under 200 pages. It is the one, I believe it was right before Lolita, I think. And it's about you're never going to believe this, about a Russian immigrant to America who is a college professor who teaches basically Russian at a small liberal arts college. And he's a good guy, but he's pretty clueless. And if what I read was correct, this book was what kind of launched Nabokov into the zone of of fame. It basically made him famous. I had always thought of it as a minor work, which is why I hadn't read it until now. But I was in a bookstore. I mean, this is actually like 2 years ago. I was in a bookstore and I got it because I was like, oh, I've never read that one. And like all Nabokov things, it's awesome and weird. And the language is just, every other page you're looking up a new word because you're like, what? I've never heard of that. Or there's, a paragraph in French that you're like, okay, well, I don't speak French and he's not translating it. So I guess fuck me.
You really got to work for Nabokov.
Yeah. But it's fun. It was an easy read. A lot of it's basically a satire of academic life, which I'm a sucker for.
Of course.
And it was fun. I would recommend it. Although the ending is definitely like, it just, I don't know. I maybe have to read it again, but it was one of those endings where I was like, okay, I guess we're done.
Yeah, Invitation to a Beheading is pretty similar.
Uh-huh.
Have you read that one?
No.
It's pretty fun. It's Nabokov at his most Sartre. It's pretty cute.
Was it written in English or is it a translation?
I think it's a translation.
I think Panine might have been his first English one. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, Invitation to a Beheading is just like, this guy is on death row and he's stuck in his cell and he knows he's going to die, but none of the people in the prison will tell him when he's going to die. And every single person in the prison is the most annoying person possible. And it's just like a real existential comedy of errors.
So it's Twitter. What? Oh, boom. Dropped a bomb.
Got him. Invitation to a beheading. I would use Twitter more if it was called Invitation to a Beheading.
It should be. Well, now that Jack Dorsey is stepping down, they should rename the site Invitation to a Beheading.
Yes.
Right. Topical. See? Topical. Topical humor. That's what you get.
To the minute. Now that was probably 2 weeks ago, based on when this will be out.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of,
yes,
here's my hopscotch of topics from last episode. Topscotch, new segment. So combining my question to you about OJ and also our discussion of the art world, there is a series of photos that is like one of my favorite pieces of art. And forgive me if I've discussed this on the show before, but it's in memory of the late Mr. and Mrs. Comfort by Richard Avedon.
Oh, well, I love Richard Avedon. I mean, classic photographer. Just what a career of the famous and the non-famous alike. But
yes, so I did not know. I haven't encountered his work a lot, but in reading the OJ book, I didn't realize that he had like a little bit part, so to speak, in the OJ trial fiasco. And it was.
I didn't remember this.
I don't know, he flew in to take a portrait of Robert Shapiro, who is the defense attorney, blah, blah, blah. It was more so just a footnote in a story about Robert Shapiro just shamelessly exploiting the media on that case. But anyway, I just dropped you a link to In Memory of the Late Mr. and Mrs. Comfort.
I'm looking. Let's see. Is this the New York? No. Okay, here it is. Bam. Okay. Great. Oh yeah, it is. It's based on it's from a New Yorker article, which is here, which I should be able to see with my subscription.
Oh, I have never read the article that it is supposedly a part of.
Well, sometimes with the New Yorker, it's not an article; it's just a collection of photos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and of course, my account is not logging me in. Whatever. All right, I'll just look at the photos here. All right. Well, this is cool.
Right. Wow. Will you describe them for people listening?
All right. So it is a woman with a skeleton, and they are doing a bunch of various things, and she is hanging out with this skeleton. Let's see, what's she doing with it? She's giving it a little sweet kiss on the cheek here. It looks like possibly a real human skeleton. Here she is smoking, and her cigarette is being lit by some burning money the skeleton's holding. Here she's having sex with the skeleton in a doorway or something. Now they're doing art stuff, jumping through flames.
This flame one has been my lock screen since I was like in high school.
With the skeleton in the red suit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. And these are all photographs? Mm-hmm. Yes, these are photographs. So she looks pretty dolled up and fancy in most of these, as does the skeleton for that matter. Here she is breastfeeding a baby doll, where the skeleton, which is clearly supposed to be her and the skeleton's child. Now the skeleton's doing stuff. Looks like their relationship might be having some problems here. He is groveling at her. I say he, but because the skeleton's clothing is, well, it also says Mr. and Mrs. Comfort, so I think that's a fair reading here. Yeah, he's groveling at her feet in this. Oh, this is a cool one with the shard of the mirror. I like that.
Shoveling the coal into the chest is also a favorite.
Looking at that one right now. Yeah, that's a good one. almost have a boob in that one too, which is always fun.
Of course.
Uh,
Tasteful side boob.
Tasteful side, that's exactly what that is. This last one too, where she's in some kind of, what would you call that? Is that been painted on her?
I think it's like a fishnet
Yeah.
stocking type situation.
And the skeleton looks like Father Guido Sarducci from SNL. He's wearing a big black hat with a wide brim and some kind of cloaky thing.
I scrolled down to look at the comments, which I've never looked at the comments on this.
That is pretty original, smiley face.
From Anna, all caps, skeleton sex FTW exclamation mark.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
well. That definitely sounds like something. How often does your brain say skeleton sex FTW in all caps?
Every day when I look in the mirror.
Time, right? Yeah.
Thank you for sharing these delightfully dark treats with us.
Now, to those with pretensions to being picture makers, this is what making pictures is all about.
About fucking skeletons, yeah. These are some really, really amazing images. I'm always up for some sexually suggestive skeleton photos. Well, Alice, do I have the content for you?
Yep. These are great comments.
Yeah. I mean, they're all from like 2009, 2010, which is an internet comment of a fine vintage.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love these pictures. They're like the best.
These are great.
It's everything I like. They're so, like, the composition on every single one of them is so dynamic and interesting.
Yeah. The colors are cool. I feel like the only Avedon stuff I've seen is black and white.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with his work beyond this singular series.
I mean, mainly he's famous for his portraits, right? He has a lot of, I forget, I'm trying to remember any specifically like who he shot, but
Marilyn
I think lots of famous people. Marilyn Monroe, right? He did some Versace stuff, maybe. Warhol. Okay, I thought there was Warhol. Yeah.
All right, that's fair. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for photography and photographers because it's just something that is like not. There's so much involved in it, and I think everyone assumes that it's. I mean, not everyone assumes, but like, oh, you just point and you take a picture. No. So much shit goes into that. I mean, as with any art thing, it's easy to point at it and be like, oh, you do that. It's easy.
Well, and even more so if you're doing like the full developing stuff. I mean, obviously, digital photography is a whole challenge in and unto itself. But when you're developing that shit in a darkroom too, that's a whole other fucking thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just scrolling through the Google images of Richard Avedon's stuff.
I saw a big exhibit of his stuff in San Francisco, probably like 15 years ago or something at was it the MoMA, whatever the Museum of Modern Art is there. It was really, I mean, they were like huge portraits. It was really memorable and cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what other, there are definitely photographers that I really particularly like, and now I can't think of any of their names.
One I like, Carlton Watkins. Look up that name.
Ooh, these are beautiful.
Yep, wow. Pictures of the American West, and from I think is this 19th, early 20th century? Yeah, and just like incredible pictures of mostly the western part of this country before they became super populated, and there's just really, really cool landscape.
They're very like ghostly,
right?
I love it.
Some of these, it's like weird mountains just sticking up from the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So
I mean, if I want to be really, really basic about photographers, Diane Arbus.
Sure. Are you a Mapplethorpe person?
Hold on. Maybe I am.
If you love hot dicks, then there's a lot of Mapplethorpe.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay. This is great because I'm putting names to images that I did not know. Yes, of course. Very into this shit.
Yeah, I figured. Who are the other like low-hanging fruit? I'm trying to think. Why? Of course, now I'm having a total blank.
I know this is like
another one.
I'm going on my Pinterest.
Yeah. When I think of Mapplethorpe, I think of an Onion article, which I believe all I remember is I think it was Jesse Helms, a famous conservative Christian, who it was something like Jesse Helms demands more NEA funding for Mapplethorpe, and the Jesse Helms quote was, quote, "Give me more of those hot cocks." So now whenever I think of Mapplethorpe, I think of give me more of those hot cocks.
Amen.
Yeah.
I'm finding nothing on my Pinterest other than a bunch of pictures of beautiful women, which got them.
Cool. Okay, art talk complete.
Done. We got it.
Name any other artist.
Both run out of.
Yeah. Have you played Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity?
No.
I'm playing it right now, and I have never wanted to be done with a game so badly. This game goes on for fucking ever. Oh my god. Why is it so long? Why do I keep playing it? Because I put it down for like 6 months, and then when I recently finished. Oh, I didn't talk about this on the show. I played the Switch re-release from a couple years ago of Katamari Damacy, which is great. And Audrey was very excited by it. You're rolling up that chicken, that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's the best.
It's so when she was like, "Oh, you're rolling up buildings. You're so big," it was so funny. She thought it was really great, and also the soundtrack just rules.
Oh man, I'm sure we have to have had discussed this before, but when I went to MagFest, which is where I met all the Grumps folks in Vernon for the first time, the musicians did a panel, and we all went, and like everybody in the crowd sang the Katamari Damacy theme song together. It was really adorable.
It's so great. So I finished that, and I was like, well, new game time. What are we doing here? And I realized that I had not completed Hyrule Warriors, in part because it goes on so long. It's like there's a million things to do. And I was like, okay, let me just go back to that. I thought I had one more thing to do, and I don't. And I'm just like, because I am, in my heart, a completist, I want to finish this fucking thing so I never have to think about it again. And I have no idea how close I am. Now, I could look it up. I think maybe now I have one more thing. But oh my god,
what's the bit of the game?
It's a one-to-many combat thing. So you play as one character, and you can take out 30 enemies at a time. So
sounds stressful.
You're just super powered combat, and it's kind of that bit is fun because you're just mowing bokoblins and shit down. So that I do like that, and you get to for all the fucking the one kind of bummer part about Breath of the Wild. Did you play Breath of the Wild? Okay,
I didn't beat it, but I definitely put my 60 hours in or whatever.
I did beat it, and I then 100%ed all the shrines. I'm not bragging. I'm just stating facts. And the thing about that is, for all the fucking walking around in the divine beasts, you never get to pilot them, right? You fix them, and then they shoot their laser beams at Hyrule Castle.
Sure.
In this game, you get to fucking stomp around as the lizard, and do the elephant, and pilot, and shoot lasers at shit. And that part is pretty dope. I did enjoy stomping enemies, as a giant camel or whatever.
Yeah, I played I've put a good amount of time into Breath of the Wild, and I just haven't even tried a single one of the Divine Beasts.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a level of stress involved with like actually progressing in that game that I'm just not here for. I just want to get to the top of a mountain and then paraglide off the top of the mountain.
Uh-huh. Yep, fair. I mean, the great part about that game is you can totally do that, and it's just as legit.
Yeah, cook stuff, break swords.
Yep.
I did somehow find the whole convoluted thing where you have to go through the forest and like follow the way that the flames are blowing to get the Master Sword.
Yes. In Korok Forest, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
I should pick that back up again, so I stop just playing Animal Crossing.
Honestly, it is one of my favorite games of all time. It is just such a beautiful, fun game. I really, really love it. And so I got it. I did this, I believe I've talked about this on the show. I did an early Switch event, and so I got a Switch before it was out, along with a copy of Breath of the Wild. So
la-di-da. What?
Yeah, look, so they wanted a team from Grumps to go do this Switch event, and it was me, Barry, and Ross, I think, right? Pretty sure. And then 2 teams from Smosh Games, which is where I met Lasercorn, actually, for the first time, who's now a good friend. And so we did this thing, and they drove us around to different locations in LA, which were based on or related to upcoming Switch games. So for ARMS, they took us to like a boxing ring and stuff like this. And then we had to do events at the sites. But while we were in transit, there were like to earn points, and the teams were competing at the various things. They gave us a demo copy of Breath of the Wild, which means that it reset every 10 minutes.
Oh.
And you had to do things in it. So this is before we had played the game, so we didn't know some of the tricks, right? We're literally just walking around, and it's like, cook a blah, 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 defeat the stone talus, defeat all this stuff.
Yeah.
It was very stressful to see this countdown.
This entire thing sounds exhausting.
It was tiring. It was very fun. Here's my main memory of this is we went to a farm for some fucking reason. And there was a donkey at the farm that had maybe the biggest penis I've ever seen in the world. And I really mean maybe the biggest penis I've ever seen in the world. This thing was, feet long, it seemed.
Right.
And there's just a group of, YouTubers staring at this donkey with this giant erect penis. And it was full on. It was out. And what it was doing was it was taking its dick and slapping it against its stomach. And we were like, what is going on here? And someone's like,
sponsored by Nintendo.
Yeah, right. And someone's like, it's jerking off. That's how they do that. And by the way, I have not verified this. I don't know if this is true, but it is plausible. And we were like, what? We're watching this donkey pleasure itself while just standing in this farm waiting for whatever event is going to happen. And oh my God, it was amazing. Definitely a high point. I was like, I've made it because I'm watching a donkey jerk off, and this thing's dick is unreal. I might even have a picture of it somewhere.
Don't send that to me because I don't want it on my phone, but you should send it to me because I want to see.
Well, let me see if I can find. When would this have? I have to look up.
Are you just going to go on your phone and search donkey dick?
You know what? Let me see what happens. I'm going to do that right now.
Oh God. My related. There's something about
donkey dick.
When I find myself in times of trouble, sometimes an animal with an erect penis is just really. There's no. Man, I'm digging a hole.
No, go for it. You know what? Is this it? Oh, wait a minute.
Did you find it?
No, those are ponies. Sorry, continue.
Oh, different large dicks.
But what's interesting is I typed donkey into the phone and it recognized animals that are vaguely donkey shaped. So, anyway,
all right,
keep going.
That's a good start.
Wow.
When when I was in high school, our dear beloved dog, that my mother named after Quentin Tarantino, or rather, I don't, whatever. She didn't name him Quentin Tarantino. His name was already Quentin, and she had wanted to name a dog Mr. Pink. And we went to adopt, blah, blah, blah. God, who cares? Anyway, I'm in high school, and this dog is old now.
Wait,
and
your dog's name was Quentin or Mr. Pink?
Quentin.
Okay.
Which to my mom, seeing as she wanted to name a dog after Reservoir Dogs because it was a dog, she wanted to name him Mr. Pink. So then when we went to look at dogs that were up for adoption, there was one named Quentin, and that dog really like walked over to my mom and put his head on her feet. And so my mom was like, "We're impulse adopting this dog because that's a sign."
Mm-hmm.
But he was the best fucking dog in the world. Rest in
Cool.
peace, Quentin. Anyway, when he was still alive, and this is not what killed him, to be clear, he got hit by a car and was fine.
Oh,
but,
good. Okay, great.
But me and my dad were freaking the fuck out. And we took him to the vet. It was like the middle of the night, and we did not know if he was going to be okay or not. And so we were waiting to hear back from the vet, and also just to avert any stress that may associate with an animal being harmed in this story. It was just he was bleeding because he got like road rash. Like he did not actually get run over. He just kind of like went under the car. Anyway, we didn't know that at this point, and so me and my dad, just feeling grim as hell, are sitting in this disgusting like little emergency vet, and the only other people there, it's an old guy and then a dog. It's like a boxer or something. And the dog's sitting there, and the dog has truly the largest, most erect penis.
Oh, and a dog penis is really an experience too.
Oh, God. And so it was just so nightmarish. And both my dad and I are like, we've kind of been on off crying. And I know that both of us see the dog dick, and we're the only other people there. So if we laugh, that guy's gonna know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was both of us just like trying desperately to not laugh, as we're just like out of our minds with stress, staring at this other dog's like clearly the reason that they were at the emergency vet is because that dog had an erection that lasts longer than 6 hours or whatever.
Wow.
This really did become the animal dick mini.
Oh, I found pictures from the farm, by the way.
But you didn't find the donkey dick.
Well, I'm looking. No, I don't think I took a picture of the donkey dick. We're past the farm now. God damn it. Yep.
I bet Nintendo got their pictures.
No donkey dicks. Oh, well. It was worth a shot, though. Oh, here's a cute picture of Audrey.
That's nice.
Yeah, well, I hope that guy's dog dick thing worked out.
Yeah. And Quentin lived for several more years after that. So.
You know what? I want to verify this story. Do donkeys masturbate?
I think it'd be fair to say that like all animals masturbate.
Oh, here's an article from Slate. Let's see. Let me find horse.
Do you think animals have No Nut November?
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Horses and donkeys whose masturbatory habits have been particularly well studied by me engage. Sorry. Engage in, quote, rhythmic bouncing, pressing, or sliding of the erect penis against the abdomen. So, yeah.
Male deer do the same. And let me tell you, I just clicked on that link because it says that it's
dead.
a PDF and it's dead.
Link. Dead link. Wow. Now I have to Google horse masturbation. Horse masturbation. Wait. All right. Enter.
That's not going to go good.
Luckily, I'm not clicking on video, which.
Don't do that.
Oh no! I scrolled too far down.
Is it throwing you like Mr. Hands?
Research. There's some titles of some videos that I'm not very excited about.
All right. Well, let's stop talking about.
Oh no! Wait. Okay. I found a paper. I found a paper here.
Okay. Is it peer reviewed?
It looks like it. This is from 2009. It's about feral horses. Let's see. A typical. Okay, here I'm going to put the link in the chat.
Okay, great.
There you go. And to quote, a typical comfort behavior for feral horse males is masturbation, which is expressed when a horse flexes his erect penis against his abdomen. So, yeah. This behavior is not expressed in conjunction with a nearby female and should not be confused with the penis drop observed when a male is reproductively tending a female. Okay, so it's a separate thing.
Are all these things at the bottom ones that are referencing this?
It looks like the
citations. Wow.
Yeah. Yes, these cite this article. Yes, indeed.
I love that, actually. Just like, hey, everyone, here's our source. This article about horses jerking it.
So the paper we're looking at is called Quantifying Equid Behavior, a research ethogram for free-roaming feral horses by Ransom and Cade. And I'll read you the abstract.
If your last name was Ransom?
Yeah.
I feel like it would force you to go into a field in which you would be writing papers about horse masturbation, which, to be clear, is way more respectable than being a podcast person talking about animal masturbation.
Yeah, but who's having more fun? Okay, here's the abstract. Feral horses are globally distributed in free-roaming populations on all continents except Antarctica and occupy a wide range of habitats, including forest, grassland, desert, and montane environments. Montane? Never heard the word used like that. The largest populations occur in Australia. Okay, they're not going to talk about jerking off in this abstract, so I'm going to stop reading it. All right, great.
I'm not going to... I looked up on Google Scholar, just like... never mind.
No,
never mind. No, we don't need to keep plumbing this hole. That's not what I wanted to say.
This is a USGS paper. Wow.
What does that mean?
United States Geological Survey.
Oh.
Yeah. Dope.
Anyway.
Let's look up master.
No.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that was a picture. We were looking at a picture of a horse jerking off, Leighton. Do you understand me? That picture you were looking at?
In the article? Yeah.
Here.
No, I see it. Because I was assuming that our friend has a little drip situation.
Well, it's hard to tell. I see. I didn't realize. I thought that was just an unrelated picture of a horse. I see. That's great. That's good to know.
Yeah. Well, hey, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the content that you paid for on this Patreon account, in which we are just whatever the fuck this is.
There are actually some pretty dope pictures of horses in this paper. These are, wow. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, they roll around.
I know. I was just looking at that. They roll around. Because I was like, what is that? Oh, it's an upside down horse.
They're having fun. Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever seen a horse on its back.
I don't think I have.
Hold on. Horse rolling around?
Here's shit.
Around.
Here's a girl horse peeing. Now that's what Daddy likes.
Don't do this, Brian.
I had to. You have to admit, I had to do that. If I hadn't done it, people would be upset with me.
I'm not sure if I want to spoil this, but I was going to tell you that I'm really fighting for the 99th episode cancellation special.
Mm-hmm.
And you've really prematurely put us there.
Uh-huh. Well, do you want to tell people about your idea?
I can't tell people about the idea because that means I'm also going to tell you about the idea. And there are elements of the idea that need to be a surprise to you.
Oh, okay.
So... Anyway, everyone, the sensational title of that episode is really to bring in the advertisers. It's like, you can't cancel us. We already canceled us prior to our 100th episode.
Here's a good picture. It's a horse chasing another. And the caption says, chasing is a moderately intense form of agonism and is shown here along with an expression of imminent biting.
Imminent biting.
Well, I like a moderately intense form of agonism, which pretty much describes what I do.
Yes. I'm obsessed with imminent biting, though.
Yeah, that's good, too. Speaking of language things, here's a construction I'm curious. I think I've heard you or seen you use this. Do you use the construction, it's the blank for me?
Yeah, we've literally talked about this exact
Oh,
thing.
we have? Okay.
Yeah. Were you thinking about that in regards to horse dick?
No, I was just thinking about that because I'm always, as we are both, always curious about language use, especially differences between you and me, due to our age gap and other things. And I was curious if that's something that rolls off your tongue naturally, or is that something you would only write?
I think that's something that I would only write unless like there are things like that that are internetisms that
Yeah,
I will readily type, but if I'm saying it out loud, I am using it in the most sarcastic way possible.
of course.
Similar to the way that I might use the word girl boss, where if you hear it coming out of my mouth, it really belies an intense hatred for whatever I'm talking about.
Yes. Very cool. Well, there's a lot of horse stuff happening here. Honestly, the pictures in this are pretty great.
Yeah.
I'll include a link to this in the
How do
episode.
we palate cleanse the horse dick?
Well, that's an odd choice of words, first of all. Let's see. What else?
There's no non-odd choice of words. I've talked about digging holes. I've talked about palate cleansers. This is just what my brain does, Brian.
Oh, okay. I can talk more about an art thing I saw. So when I was in Denver, I went to the Denver Art Museum, and next door to it, they have an entire museum, which is a smaller one, devoted to a single artist, Clyfford Still, who is an abstract expressionist, of whom Clifford with a Y, by the way, CLYFFORD, who I had not actually embarrassingly heard of before, but essentially like a contemporary of Rothko and Pollock. And I loved this museum. It was so this guy he didn't title any of his work, but he cataloged it very carefully and kept, a lot of details about it. And when he died, in his will, he basically said, I'm going to give all my stuff, all of my collected works, and this was being administered by his wife, to whatever city, promises they'll like house them and take care of them. And I forget what his conditions were, but basically, a bunch of cities put themselves up for it, and Denver was picked. And I don't know, 10-ish years ago, maybe a little more, this museum opened, devoted exclusively to the life and art of Clyfford Still. And it is awesome. I have never seen a museum that so carefully documents, first of all, not only his life, which there's extensive stuff about, but the process of finding the works and figuring out what everything was while opening the museum. So the museum is in some sense a museum about itself, because
that's
there's
very
a lot
fun.
of context of, we unrolled this and we didn't know what we were going to find, and it looks like this was, blah blah blah, because not everything was, there were a few things that like fell through the cracks and stuff, and it was a really really interesting museum. Also, he did like kind of, like a lot of those abstract expressionists of his day, gigantic canvas works, which are huge and just cool to be in the same room with.
Yeah, there's way more like dynamism, or the way more dynamic than like a Rothko.
Yes,
it's like very interesting forms.
Yeah, a lot of like, especially in I think the later stuff. So he starts off. There's a lot of kind of portraiture and very representational kind of stuff, and then at some point he goes very abstract, and there's a lot of jagged stuff happening, which is, it's interesting. It was kind of like a hybrid of Pollock and Rothko. It's like kind of in the midpoint, right? Where Pollock is just like fucking crazy, just blops all over the place, and Rothko has these very subtle things going on, and he's kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I had never heard of him before, but this is really neat.
Me neither. And he's a major artist. You know, he had big exhibitions, definitely well known in the scene. At some point, he just removed himself from it because he was like, "I'm done with this bullshit," which is very cool. And yeah, I loved it. The museum, it's like you can see the whole thing in like an hour. Yeah, it was really astonishing and cool, and a cool like building too. So,
God, I love art. Contrary to what I said 30 minutes ago or last week, whenever it was, I do love art.
Yeah, and when you see a really good museum, oh man, it's just the best. Like I love a good museum, and I love the weird like house museums kind of stuff. They're all quirky and interesting. You know, in London in particular, there's like a ton of those. But then you get like the big, cool modern art museums like this, or like the Tate Modern, or something like that, which are, man, I just the sense of scale really works.
Yeah. It's when you're in front of a big ass painting, or if it's like I did not realize how big this painting was, or there. I always think about Starry Night, which the 2 times that I've seen it in person, I've just been like overwhelmingly pissed off at the way that people treat a super famous painting in a museum, which is crowd around it to take a picture, even though you've only ever seen this thing in pictures.
Yeah.
Pisses me off.
Go look at it. Go fucking look at go look at the texture. When you see that thing in person, stand up next to it and or wherever you want, but like try to experience the part that you can't experience on a screen.
It's like, this is one of the most famous paintings ever. Do you really think the picture that you take with your cell phone is going to be better than decades of high quality? Drives me nuts. Anyway, but seeing it in person, it is so vibrant. Like, you don't get that from pictures of it until you see it. And it is just like, it really pops at you. I cried in front of that one. Thanks a lot, Van Gogh.
Well, that's something, especially with, I notice this a lot in the Clyfford Still stuff. The textural aspect of it is so important to the work, and yet is almost totally lost in any 2D representation of it, right?
Yeah.
And so when you see this stuff in front of you, you can, I mean, you could obviously get close to it, you can get farther away. There's lots of different ways to look at it, and no one is right or wrong. But being able to experience the texture of these paintings, as well as the way the colors, quote unquote, actually look, whatever that means, is so crucial to seeing it in person.
Yeah.
Well,
we really.
This is the just to say this one other thing.
Please.
I read you a quote from Clyfford Still, which I really liked, or I showed this to you, which I want to read to people here because it stood out.
Oh, that's what it was from. Okay.
Yes.
I did not connect
to me
that.
enough that I was like, oh shit, this rules. Let me find it. Where is it? Oh, I'm so close. It's almost there. That's a dog I hung out with. Okay, here we go. All right. So this is a quote from Clyfford Still, where he says, "Black was never a color of death or terror for me. I think of it as warm and generative," which I love.
Yeah.
And I think is something I had not quite put my finger on. I tend to wear a lot of black, and I don't think of it as macabre. I think of it as, oh, this color rules.
No, and it's like, well, this is a great base to work from. It looks great by itself, and any other color you put on top of it, it's just like a nice accent. Like, you kind of can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And also, you could say, oh, but what about white clothing? Yeah, well, I'm a woman who eats food in my life, and I want to wipe it on my pants.
Yeah.
Girl boss of me.
Yeah.
The white clothing is a no-go. I can't girl boss or gaslight or gatekeep in that effectively.
The only white clothing I wear, apart from the occasional shirt, is the white suit I wear when I'm my saxophone playing character, Trey Magnifique. And I am very tempted. Now, I have not done this, but I'm very tempted. So, have you seen this suit? Surely
no.
What?
No, I have not.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No, one of our mutual friends referenced your sax alter ego, and I did not know what he was talking about, and now I know.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to send you a picture of
It's important that this is captured in...
well, this is not... You can't see the full suit here. This is just a chest up thing. Here. I'm sending this to you now. I'm texting it to you.
Okay, fabulous. Maybe this will send, unlike
the links from before.
Oh my God. Yep.
So that has white pants that go with it.
Right. And no shirt.
Yeah, no shirt. So that's the bit with this character is it's sunglasses and then a white suit jacket, no shirt underneath it, and white pants and white shoes. So the bit I am tempted to do with this is to never wash it. And so over the years, and hopefully they'll be touring and blah, 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 is this thing just gets grosser and dirtier and grimier as I get older and grayer and everything. I'm very tempted to do it.
Yeah. I think that's a solid artistic decision. And then you don't have to worry about anyone getting near you or your saxophone because you will have like a radius of stank. The stank radius, if you will.
Oh, jazz is dirty.
You could also just like before any show, just douse yourself in like KY jelly or Crisco.
Oh, I like that.
And then that's the real Lost Boys look. Just like, I don't think you're legally allowed to play a saxophone unless you reach a certain like grease quotient on your person.
There is. I'm very tempted. Here's a better picture of the full suit.
Please.
Also, apparently there's a new documentary about Kenny G coming out soon because I just heard Sharpling interview the director Penny Lane on The Best Show, and I very much want to see it, but I also want to talk to her because she was awesome, and maybe we'll reach out and see if she'll be on the show.
Okay, so I still only have the one picture.
Well, I just sent it.
Wait for it. Oh my God. Oh my God. This brings me much joy. Not because of you in it, but because of what is happening in the background.
Yeah. It's Phobos high-fiving. I don't even know who he's high-fiving. Somebody. So this was taken at a twerp show.
Is that Hav's hand?
That is Hav's. Yep, that is Hav's hand. You can see his white spikes.
Contrary to what I just said, I actually love this whole photo. The backlighting on what is it, Trey Magnifique?
That's his name, yes.
Yeah, the backlighting is like gorgeous.
Yeah, that's someone took that, and I don't know who. But yeah,
that's wonderful. Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, that minisode really did span, I think, the full ideological breadth of
life.
Leighton Night.
Yeah. We went from horses jerking off to abstract expressionism to my saxophone playing alter ego, Trey Magnifique.
Excellent name, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, folks.
It's Trey, if you must know.
Huh?
It's not Tres as you'd say it in French. It's Trey. Trey.
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
It's a little edgier.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Well.
Click.
All right, people at home.
Leighton Night is produced by Brian Wecht, Leighton Gray, and Jarek Centeno. Follow us on Twitter at Leighton Night, on Instagram at Leighton_Night, or email us at leightonnight@gmail.com.